What's happening, YouTube? This is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the flip side of auto repair. And what I mean by that is basically the perspective of the shop owner or the auto technician's point of view when dealing with consumers, the general public, customers in general. So I know you guys have probably seen countless articles and blogs online about things an auto mechanic won't tell you, or buy this magic device to plug into your data port and it'll tell you exactly what's wrong so you can stop that dirty, dishonest mechanic from cheating you. Or you turn on the news and there's some undercover investigation of some news team with a mechanic who disables some system in a vehicle and goes and tries to see if someone's honest. So again, we're going to be discussing the flip side of that, how us as auto mechanics and shop owners view the customer or the consumer. Because it's pretty one-sided. The consumer never talks about the bad behavior or their dishonesty. They only talk about the auto mechanics' dishonesty, but customers can be just as dishonest. So we get a bad rap, and the news media completely perpetuates people's fear of going to the auto mechanic anyway. So let's talk about how we see the consumer from our point of view. But before we get into it, I'm gonna roll this clip for you guys just to sort of set up the stage of this discussion. So let's roll the clip.
That every vehicle owner dreads, a visit to the auto mechanic to fix a problem under the hood. But in this case, Stephanie is actually an ABC News producer, and her Infiniti SUV has been equipped with an optional accessory: our hidden cameras. 2020 is going undercover at auto repair shops to see if what our confessor says is true, that there are way too many mechanics out there who are willing to take advantage of their customers by doing unnecessary repairs.
You're a bit at the mercy of whoever's opening up your hood and looking at it.
Joe the mechanic should know. He's been fixing cars for more than 40 years. We've agreed to put him in a disguise with Hollywood makeup and not use his real name. In exchange, Joe agreed to tell 2020 about the dirty little secrets of his trade. Joe says there are even special names for these transactional transgressions, like gravy work, which means billing the customer for much more time than a repair job actually takes.
Like a brake job. Most shops will charge an hour and a half to 2 hours to turn the rotors, put pads on it. If you're good and got good equipment, you can do it in 20 or 30 minutes. That's gravy.
You're doing it in less time, but you're getting extra money for it.
That's right.
Joe says another inside trick that some mechanics use is the so-called wallet flush, where a routine oil change can turn into something much more expensive.
An $18 oil change. Well, they lose money on that. The idea is to get you in so they can sell you the coolant flushes, trans flushes, power steering flushes. That's where the money is.
In other words, if you're flush with cash, get ready to be hosed.
It's real easy to check the transmission fluid. This is actually very clean, but honestly, I've seen recommendations for flushes on fluid that looks like this.
Joe says what drives all of this is the tiny profit margin at many repair shops. He says most mechanics are honest, but all too many are pressured by their bosses to push unnecessary work. He used to do it himself.
I'm ashamed a bit to admit it, but when your boss tells you either you do it here or the door's right there, what are you going to do? Now, I need a job. Everybody needs a job.
Getting back to the tricks of the trade, Joe says one of the most common and profitable ways to jack up a repair bill is exploiting fears over the check engine light, affectionately known by some in the trade as the idiot light.
It's expensive. That's, that people are afraid of the check engine light.
You see that check engine light, you say, oh my gosh, something's wrong with it. You go to the mechanic, and really, it could be anything that's happening in here, right?
So that was a pretty good laugh, right? You gotta admit, that was pretty funny. So if a news media crew came to me asking me to participate, I would never participate in something like this. This is completely disingenuous. It doesn't tell the whole story. There's not enough information there. The mechanics are clearly just telling the news people whatever they want to hear. So this is really just playing on the fears of the consumer. So since us mechanics are so dishonest and so crooked and quick to take advantage of people, let's talk about some of the things that consumers do, since they seem to be blameless in this situation, which is far from the truth. I'm going to basically run down things that I've experienced myself personally, working independently, owning and operating my own business. I've dealt with working at a dealership. I've dealt with working at an independent. Throughout my whole career, I've run across these same issues over and over and over with consumers and dealing with people. So you hate to go to the mechanic, well guess what? It's not always a pleasure dealing with you either, okay? Let's talk about some of these things that consumers do. So number one, first thing I'm gonna get into is customers do not follow recommendations. I have yet to meet one customer who knows the proper service interval for their vehicle. I've yet to meet one customer who has ever read their owner's manual. I've yet to meet one customer who changes their oil and do all their routine maintenance on time when they're supposed to. I have yet to meet anybody who does that. So with that being said, most vehicles that come to us a lot of times are far behind in maintenance, or the car is just completely poorly maintained when we get the vehicle. Number two, customers completely abuse warranties. It makes it so no auto repair business really wants to give a warranty, or we have to document so many things that don't include the warranty, because if a customer thinks that they have a warranty, they will deliberately abuse a vehicle or do something they know they shouldn't do that could cause the vehicle to overheat or could damage the vehicle in some kind of way. They'll do it anyway because they think they have a warranty and really don't care, and just throw the problem right back into your lap. So they make it hard for auto repair businesses to want to offer a warranty for our work or anything like that, because the customers will completely abuse a warranty that's given. Number three, customers will blame us for problems that they already had and they knew that they already had. I don't know how many times I've had customers where the check engine light will pop on after I did work, but I already knew that the battery was disconnected, because most competent mechanics will start any type of repair work by plugging in the scan tool and seeing if you can retrieve any information out of the computer to help you with the repair or to diagnose. So a lot of times I'll already see that the battery's been disconnected and make a note of it because the monitors aren't set yet. And so we'll do the repair and then they'll call you back and like, hey, my check engine light is on. I've dealt with this issue so many times. I've dealt with so many dishonest customers. It's almost laughable when I hear customers talk about how dishonest mechanics are. Number four is similar to three, but not quite. Customers will try to get anything they can for free. Now, of course, they'll blame you, like I mentioned in number three, or they'll just flat out try to throw it in the middle of a repair and we'll send you in there anyway, or you're gonna charge me more just to do this or just to do that. Number five, customers always want the cheapest repair. They want the cheapest parts, they want the cheapest repair, just the cheapest you can do it, that's what they want. Despite your professional recommendation, despite your warnings, they want it done as cheap as possible. For example, I've done gearbox replacements. When you remove the gearbox, you have access to the clutch, or engine replacements for that matter I've done, and had access to the clutch and can see that the clutch has been in there for a long time, and it's clearly showing signs of wear. This will be the perfect time to go ahead and put a new clutch in there too, because it'll actually be cheaper for you. Is it free? No. Is it a little bit more labor? Yes. But it's the perfect time to do it for you. I've had customers decline that and had clutch discs paper thin. So guess what? When that clutch goes out, what are they gonna do? They're gonna try to find some kind of way to say there was something you could have done. Number six, Customers will listen to anybody over the technician, even though that person is not a certified, experienced technician, and that's not what they do for a living. They'll listen to their neighbor, their friend, family members over the auto technician. Even though the problem's been fixed, your car's been fine, they could come over and say, hey, you know what? I don't think that mechanic did something right. Guess what? They're going to listen to that person over you, even though you're the qualified professional. That's the type of stuff we deal with. So that brings us to number 7, my personal favorite. Customers will lie to you. I can't even count how many times I've been lied to by a customer. A customer will basically always tell you incorrect information if they think it's going to cost them more money, or if they think that it's going to void a warranty or anything like that. Anyway, it can put them in the wrong, which 9 times out of 10 it is, because like I stated in number 1, they don't follow recommendations. So number 8, customers will harass you. I've been harassed by customers before. A lot of times is if a customer can't get their way, they'll start to harass you to try to get you to do whatever it is they want. Now here's the problem. Auto repair business you as a consumer may hate to go to, but you could go have a business transaction with that auto repair shop and be done and go on about your business. Us as the auto repair business, it's not that easy. Customers can continue to keep coming back, keep calling, keep harassing when a business transaction is done. In that situation, who's the worst scenario? You, the consumer, to have to deal with an auto mechanic that you think might be charging you too much, or us, the auto mechanic, dealing with a harassing consumer that keeps pushing and harassing. So let me tell you, you got it easy. It's a lot worse for us, the auto shop, the auto technician, to deal with you, the consumer, in many cases. That brings us to number 9. Number 9 is customers will try to skip out on payment. Okay, so us, the auto mechanic, we're trying to gouge the customer, right? We're trying to rip you off. Well, guess what? There's customers that try to skip out on payment all the time. Every shop owner out there, every mechanic out there watching this right now can attest to a customer trying to get out of payment, trying to find any excuse not to pay, or will just flat out try to steal the vehicle and not pay. So we deal with that, and it's a lot worse than someone just trying to charge you a lot or giving you a high quote. Number 10, customers will make up problems to try to get a refund from you. So it goes back to customers being just as dishonest as auto mechanics. If the auto mechanic is dishonest anyway, a lot of cases it don't even really be a dishonest auto mechanic. It's more likely an uninformed customer. So we had a customer who we replaced the transmission on, and she had brought her Honda back probably like 3 months later after we replaced the transmission. And they had a code for like a shift solenoid. So on a lot of Asian vehicles, you can replace the shift solenoids outside of the transmission. So we tested the shift solenoids, and we didn't have a problem with the shift solenoid. So we figured, that's odd. So we just cleaned it out and put the shift solenoids back on there with a new gasket. And didn't see her again for a couple months. Then she came back again and tried to do a fraud on her insurance company and said her car caught fire, but it was just a blown out blower motor. She was upset with me, I guess, because I didn't go along with whatever she wanted me to tell the insurance company. I told them, no, it was just a blower motor. Her car never caught on fire. She may have smelled a little bit of smoke because it's an electric motor and it burned out. And so anyway, she came back again now, I guess upset, and was saying that there was something wrong with her transmission again. And so, we looked at it and followed the trouble tree on everything and couldn't figure out why this code kept coming back on. And finally we realized that there's really nothing wrong with this transmission. We believe that this customer was unplugging the solenoid to set a code, plug it back up, and keep bringing it to us like, I don't know why this light is coming back on. And she demanded a refund. Obviously, she tried to run this same game on her insurance company to get a new car. It didn't work. So we knew she was trying to run that game on us. So this is the kind of stuff we deal with. Dealing with customers, consumers, the general public. The general public and consumers is no walk in the park. You think you got it bad going to the mechanic. We deal with people all the time. Number 11, customers won't do any homework when it comes to purchasing a vehicle. They'll buy a vehicle that's extremely expensive to maintain and to repair, and then they get upset at the auto mechanic or the facility for the price that it costs. And accuse us of price gouging, when in reality you just didn't do your homework and you probably couldn't afford that vehicle and you shouldn't have bought that vehicle. It has nothing to do with the repair facility and everything to do with the customer. I've even had family members who buy expensive cars that they can't afford and look to me to try to repair them. And even if I repair them, it's still expensive. You can't avoid parts costs and things like that. So that brings us to number 12, which is one of my personal favorites, and I've experienced this a lot, buyer's remorse. Yes, automotive repair customers do get buyer's remorse. This happens when they have a vehicle that maybe they don't want to buy a new vehicle, they just want to sort of fix the one that they have. They want to avoid a car payment and things like that. And they know it needs a new engine, a new transmission, or the AC needs to be fixed, or maybe it could be a multitude of things that need to be fixed. And so they, put $5,000 or $6,000 into the car, and maybe the car is only worth $5,000 or $6,000, but they figure, hey, it's worth it because I don't want a car payment, I don't want a new car. But then they spend that $5,000 or $6,000, then they slowly realize, well, you know what? I still got a couple dings and dents here and there, and I still need tires, and that passenger window still won't roll down, and I still need to do this and that, and X, Y, Z, and then they end up having buyer's remorse. But they don't just deal with that buyer's remorse. No, usually the customer will basically take their buyer's remorse out on us, the auto mechanic or the auto repair shop, basically by trying to get you to fix every little thing that's wrong with that vehicle under the same price that we did the last repair for. They try to make everything attached to that last repair when it's completely separate. And that's what I like to call buyer's remorse. If you're thinking about buying a new car, you need to seriously consider whether or not you want a new car or keep your old car. You need to figure that out before you go to the auto mechanic so that you don't put your buyer's remorse in the auto mechanic's lap. Number 13, customers will basically refuse to believe that the problem that they have with their vehicle is an obscure issue and that it's just really hard to figure out, and it's going to take more time to figure out, or that the technicians just flat out just can't figure it out, and I can't really spend that much time on your vehicle. I have other vehicles to deal with and we can't work on it. They get upset when this happens, or if you say you need more time on it, and it may be more of a diagnostic charge because it's going to take you more time. It's sort of an obscure issue. They refuse to believe that and automatically assume the mechanic is price gouging. Number 14, customers think it's okay to tell us how to do our job. Out of all the professions that you could get into, I think this is probably the worst profession in terms of people telling you how to do your job. If I had $1 for every time some customer told me how to do my job, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. Last but not least, number 15 is going to be consumers do not care how they drop the vehicle off. They will drop it off in any state, will make your job extremely hard and still pressure you to fix it on time and cheap. What I mean by that is customers will drop a vehicle off with literally no gas in the vehicle. How are we going to test drive this vehicle or even run the vehicle after we make a repair. Or the vehicle will be towed in with a dead battery and you can't perform any type of diagnosis until you charge the battery up or swap the battery out for a different battery. Or the vehicle may have a check engine light on and the customer thought it was a wise idea to clear the codes before they give you the vehicle. So I had a 2003 Ford F-250 come into the shop. Came in off a tow truck. It was a no-start condition. We quickly diagnosed it as a fuel pump that failed. So we're getting ready to change the fuel pump, but the customer brought the vehicle. The truck bed is completely filled with dirt and all kind of stuff because it was like an urban farming project, and this company did like urban farming. And it was just jam-packed with so much dirt and just stuff in the truck. For one, the truck was like too heavy to lift. We felt it to be too heavy to lift on the lift because of all the dirt in the back. For two, they gave us mice. After that truck left, we now had mice in the shop, which we never had before, which caused damage when they started chewing up other vehicles in the shop. Three, that vehicle, the truck bed needs to come off in order to access the pump. We ended up doing that vehicle. It made it a lot harder for us to fix it because of that. And of course, we called the customer, and the customer basically could care less what we got to do to fix it, and really was upset when we told them that we was going to have to charge them more money because of it. They paid us some more money, but they had the audacity to be upset with us after they gave us a rodent issue. This is so terrible, I didn't put it on my list, but I'll mention it. A couple of dishonorable mentions that I have is one, a customer will try to ruin a mechanic's reputation over the slightest misunderstanding, or if something didn't go their way. They'll go as far as trying to ruin a shop's reputation or a mechanic's reputation, which can hurt someone's livelihood, and auto repair customers do that. And another one is auto repair customers can be so terrible that it actually makes guys quit this industry and get into other things. That's the other side of auto repair. That's what the mechanics see, that's what the shop owners see as you, the consumer. So you think you don't like going to the auto mechanic? Well, the customers is no walk in the park either. On top of that, we have to deal with the news media and internet blogs and magazines always perpetuating how crooked or how dirty auto mechanic is. For example, I just read an article from Reader's Digest, which I basically can pick that article apart as just garbage. I'll leave a link in the description if you're curious to see what article I read. It's called 30 Things Your Car Mechanic Won't Tell You. 30 things that I won't tell a customer. I can't sit here and think of anything I won't tell a customer pertaining to their vehicle. In most cases, it's what the customer is not telling us that makes it hard for us to service a vehicle. I found that article to be inaccurate. I mean, the first bit of advice on the 30 things a mechanic won't tell you was watch out for scare tactics. If a mechanic says something like this, be wary. And it says, I would not drive this vehicle another mile. You gotta be kidding me. If a mechanic tells you he wouldn't drive this vehicle another mile, you should probably listen. Then it went on to say other things like always ask for synthetic motor oil, and like brake flushes and power steering flushes are gimmicks, and transmission flushes are gimmicks and things like that. This is not really good information to give someone. Every mechanic out there, or if you're a consumer out there, let me tell you right now that mechanics don't set the guidelines on how we service vehicles. We follow the recommended procedure by each manufacturer. So it could be a manufacturer that don't recommend something and we won't follow that procedure. But you always follow the manufacturer specs. There, you can't just paint every vehicle with a broad brush. It just doesn't work like that. Every vehicle is different, every vehicle has to follow the procedure that the engineers intended the auto technicians to follow. So I hope you guys like this particular video, the flip side of auto repair, pertaining to shop owners and auto mechanics from our vantage point and the way we see things. This is Brian 916. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Pick my truck up. I had a little issue with some of the stitching on the back of the driver's seat, so still under warranty. So I'm coming up here to pick up my truck. And the waiting room here, permit to operate an air pressure tank. What do you know? Been there, done that with all this. Oh boy, all this licensing. Glad I'm getting out of the repair business. What do you guys think about the new GMC Sierra pickup with that crazy tailgate design? This tailgate flips up and down all kind of ways. It's got like a low stopper, easy access to hop up in here. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Seems pretty unnecessary. I'm pretty happy with just a regular truck bed. But then again, I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody might benefit from this. Anyway, it just seems unnecessary to me. Huh?
Did you see the vehicle out front?
No, I didn't. No.
Any available porter to the cashier counter, please? Any available porter to the cashier counter? And then it looks like I have two for you, so I'll just need a few signatures just so you can connect the vehicle.
All right.
I'll have them on the register.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, sir.
All right. There it is. I think they washed it for me. That was nice. All right, brother. Appreciate it. You too. All right, guys. Got my truck back. I'm going to take you over here and take a look at this sort of a retro remake truck that they got. It's pretty cool. Let's hear it. Pull into this little Chevy dealership real quick. Which a buddy of mine actually works here in the service department. Let's come around over here and take a look at this retro Cheyenne pickup. Wow, look at that thing. Anyways, look at this custom 10 retro Cheyenne pickup. And this is a real nice looking truck. Yeah, I'm really digging this. Hey, how's it going?
Like that?
So of course the sales guy come out and try to sell it to me. It's like, come on, man. I just bought a new vehicle. You know, I'm driving a new vehicle now. It'll probably be a long time before I buy a new vehicle again. Jeez, whoever worked on this truck got my steering wheel greasy. Yikes, I brought it in for stitching that broke on my seat. I don't know how he got the steering wheel greasy by working on the interior. Anyway, guys, this is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in. As always, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.